I know you just got that notification that your computer is running out of storage again and that space is limited. You're probably thinking you need to go buy a new computer, but you just probably need to get a hard drive. So in today's Tech Things with Kourt, I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why I recommend using an external hard drive, and also 2 different kinds of external hard drives, and then the different kinds I have used myself. If you're like me and you're editing some sort of digital content, whether it be video, photos, graphics, or maybe just in your day-to-day life when it comes to your documentation, you should definitely have an external hard drive, because there's nothing worse than losing those files and then having a hard time to potentially not be able to recover them or paying a pretty penny. The first reason why you're going to want to have an external hard drive is limited storage. We know that our computers fill up so much very quickly over time, especially if we're not deleting anything, hundreds of gigabytes at that. Now with my MacBook Pro back there, I have 1 terabyte worth of storage, but I quickly found that I would be filling it up quickly, even on my old MacBook Pro, which I also had 1 terabyte, but between like client stuff, my own files, downloads from the internet, music, and so much more, it would just be filled up. And then what would end up happening is that my computer would begin to slow down, and before I didn't know anything, I'd be like, oh my god, I gotta buy a new computer, but it was more so just like I use all the internal storage. So with those bigger files, you're going to want to have them on an external, or you can just put all of your important files or all of your files onto your external. The second reason is going to be that media is missing. There's nothing worse than your files being deleted and now you have to go and re-export that file again. So this is why I don't really recommend for people to edit off of their SD card or straight from their camera. I always say that when you're finished, you can go ahead and dump the SD card onto your external hard drive. That way you have a copy should anything happen. I know for me, when I'm finished editing, what I typically will do is dump the SD card on the active external hard drive that I'm using, and then I'll make a copy of my folder with everything onto my backup external hard drive that stores everything from the different externals I'm using. So I have a copy, and I'll still leave it on the SD card until I'm completely finished. Even when it comes to client projects, I don't delete anything until the project is done, and even then I still make sure just to store it for a certain amount of time on a hard drive, just in case I need to go back and pull in there, whether they renew their contract, or just like to include those other video clips into the current project that I'm working on. So this can help you to avoid having to reshoot everything, especially when it involves clients and other people for a project with the different schedules and other things they have going on in their life. It doesn't always work out to be able to reshoot the content again. B is going to be editing off of multiple SD cards. So I know that if you are doing that, you might have an SD card that you have with you on a shoot, and let's say you're traveling out of the country or even out of the state, out of your city, and the other SD card that you typically edit off is back at home, so you can't even work on the project at the same time because you have them located in different places. And then C is that the SD card might be reformatted before you even get to copy those files, or the worst case scenario, it gets corrupted, and at that point you're running the risk of not being able to recover them if you use like a file recovery program or you take it somewhere and it's just like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but 10 out of 10 don't recommend. The third reason is going to be convenience. Now with external hard drives, we have 2 different kinds. You have the ones that are docked at your desk, and then you have the portable ones. And with the portable ones, it allows you to move freely. So sometimes we sit at our desk and it's not the most stimulating for us to stay focused, be inspired, get the work done. So you might need to move around, whether that's editing your bed, on your couch, in your kitchen, or going to a coffee shop, hanging out in the backyard, wherever works for you. So I like being able to have that option to move around as I please. And the other great thing is that when it comes to the portables, you're able to edit between different devices. So as long as you have the files and the actual project saved on your external, I can go from my Mac and then I can go to an iMac, or I can go from my iMac and I can go to my tablet, whatever works for you. So, you know, we love change of scenery and not having to be bogged down. So I know that one of those 3 things might have not been you, or it might not be you because you're already on those externals. I see some of y'all, I see you. So when you're buying your hard drives, there's a couple things you're going to keep in mind. So the first thing is pay attention to the ones that are available for your operating system. So if you're on Windows and PCs, then you're going to be looking for the NTFS hard drive. And then if you're on the Mac OS systems, then you're going to be looking for the ExFat, which actually can work between both Mac and PCs because it's formatted and ready to use for both of them. And this way it allows you to jump between. So if I'm editing on my Mac here, but let's say I'm out traveling, I want to edit on my Surface, I can plug in the ExFat drives without any problems and not having to worry about reformatting. When you're buying the hard drive, you want to just pay attention to the ports and the cables that it's using, so you buy the correct one so you'll be able to use it on your devices. So I have these two Lacy hard drives right here, and they look the same, but then when you get to the actual connection, the top's going to be the USB micro B port and the bottom's going to be the USB type C. So of course, to connect to my actual computer, they both are USB-C, but make sure when you're buying them, if you need a 3.0 port, then get the correct hard drive. But like I said, to connect the actual hard drives, you'll see the different cables. Now, you probably heard of SSD and HDD, and those are also two different kinds of hard drives as well outside of the port. And SSD stands for solid state drive, and then HDD is the hard drive disk. Now, typically people might gravitate towards the HDD drive without necessarily knowing the different types, and there's nothing wrong with that. When I first got, well, not my first hard drive, but one of my earlier hard drives that I used was the Western Digital for 1 terabyte, and it was great. However, I went to the car dealership one time and I was walking down the stairs and I tripped and I took a tumble and I fell along with my computer and my hard drive. And what ended up happening was that when the hard drive hit the floor, it corrupted on the inside. So with the hard drive disk, you have an internal fan that's spinning, and then when that stops spinning, this is where you're going to run into your problem. Don't be scared, you can still get a HDD drive, but for me at the time, what I had to do was actually take it out of the casing and then put it in an enclosure. So let me show you. This is an enclosure and this is what it looks like, and in order to recover my files, this is what I used. I ended up taking my Western Digital out of the casing, and this is, take it out and then put it into the enclosure, and then of course use the cable to connect it to my computer, and then I ran it through a file recovery software and I was able to get my stuff. But after that, had always had my eye on the Lacy, so I was like, you know what, this is just a sign I need to invest now and start using them. So if you know you're a person that might be a little clutch here and there, I definitely recommend getting a Lacy or a hard drive with a protective casing. If you do choose to stick to the hard drive disk like that Western Digital, what you can do is actually get a case for it. I don't have one anymore, but hold on. So you might think they're expensive, but they're really not. You can get some hard drives as cheap as like $40, and it can go all the way up to $300+, but of course be realistic about your needs and your usage for it. You can get them anywhere between Amazon, Adorama, B&H, or even Best Buy, and Best Buy is actually one of my favorite places to buy any of my gear from, and it's because of their Geek Squad protection program and also because of cashback. This is a whole different video I can get into, but I'll keep it short. When it comes to buying stuff online, it's not just limited to gear, but since we're talking about gear, I always get cashback on my purchases using eBay. This is literally not sponsored, but I've been using eBay since I want to say 2013, and it's been amazing just to get money back when I'm spending, right? Especially when we're purchasing equipment, and it does cost a pretty coin, you know, give me some of that coin back. And they have great deals, so even for like other stores have like 6% cashback, 10% cashback inside of gear and outside of gear. So definitely check it out. I'll leave a link below, and like when you sign up, I get 25, you get 25. But so the hard drives that I currently have, as I mentioned before, the Lacy. I have these hard drives, which are great because of the rugged case, and like I said, they have the different ports available. They're orange. If you've seen them, they're pretty portable. Now the next hard drive I have is actually the Sandisk Extreme 1 terabyte, and it comes with 500 terabytes. Ooh.
Girl, what's going on? Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
It comes in 500 gigabytes, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabytes. It's pretty small, and I keep it in this headphone case I got from Marshall's a few years back. And what I like is the size, because when it comes to traveling and being out and about, I'm able just to grab it and go. And this also has a protective casing as well, and it does come with a adapter for USB 3.0. When we went to Europe back in 2019, I actually carried this hard drive alone to just store my stuff and back it up as we were traveling, because we went for 2 weeks and we only did a backpack and a carry-on. So I wanted to make sure I had things small and compact and I can get around, because we took cars, we took buses, we took trains, we took planes, literally all forms of transportation. And if you travel in Europe, you know them baggage fees. So even 1 kilogram over, y'all ain't catching me. I'm not paying that. Not today. So those are the 2 hard drives I use for portability when I'm on the go. And then when I'm here at my desk, what I use is the Google G Drive. Now I have 2 of these. This is the 6 terabyte and then the one underneath is 10 terabytes. The one underneath is my ultimate backup for all of the hard drives that I currently have. And then this one I do work off from, well, actually more than time to time. I work off it pretty often. So it is great. I haven't had any problems with it. And then here are the ports on the back. Now with my G Drive, the one underneath is currently being used as my ultimate backup, but also to back up my actual computer. So I partitioned it, just split it down in terms of how many gigabytes I want to use to back it up. So I have that as well. I am moving towards a different backup and storage system going into next year, but that's a different video. But these are all great for not even just beginners, but just every and anybody. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you found it helpful. Are we using external hard drives? Let me know down below. Or are we editing off of the SD card straight to our computer? Don't get me wrong, I've done it time to time. I have to quickly remind myself, like, okay, like we need to copy this project onto said hard drive because we cannot play games. Time is money, money is time. Half of the time, like, nobody is trying to reshoot, whether it's you or a client. So let me know down below and I'll see you guys in the next video. I need to find something else, but for right now, we're just gonna go with peace. At least you know it's me. This is the signature. This is the signature.